I'm currently living off-grid inside this fully converted bus in the middle of a California desert. I've been living in the back of this bus for about 6 months now, traveling across the country, and I've been to over 25 different states, 10 national parks, and multiple cities, and trust me, it's been a great experience, but this place right here is one of the most unique places I've ever been to in my life. We are currently in Glamis, California, which is the capital of the sand dunes, and you can find anyone staying for about a week or months on end. From weekend stayers just riding the buggies in the sand dunes, all the way from the extreme digital nomads who've been here for months on end. There's some pretty unique people here, which makes this place so sick. And then there's me. I guess I'm kind of considered a newbie because I've only been out here for about a week now, but I'm loving it so far. I'm pretty hooked on living out here for a little bit. And after uploading some videos for a couple months now, I've been getting a lot of questions about this lifestyle and why I chose to live it and why I'm still doing it after all these months. And to be honest with you, that answer can kind of vary from a day-to-day basis because sometimes there's some pretty shitty days and then sometimes there's some pretty awesome days. But to be honest with you, a lot of the times we go through some pretty shitty days. It's not easy living out on the road. I mean, there is a lot of cons of living on the road or living in a bus compared to, living in a house or an apartment. For example, one big con of living out on the road or living in a bus is that I have to pretty much take cold showers every single day because I don't have running hot water. Now, I do have a Planet Fitness membership, which means that anytime that I'm around a city or, a populated town, I can pretty much use their gym facility to take a shower, a hot shower actually, which is pretty cool on top of, the gym membership. But when you're off-road like this, you really don't have access to a Planet Fitness. So that means cold showers all the time. And another great example is not having access to readily accessible resources. And when I mean resources, I mean food, I mean water, and other things as well. I mean, the closest Walmart to here is around an hour, and we have to fill up our water tank all the time as well. It's not like we just have running tap water hooked up to our bus. Another resource that I know you guys are gonna ask of, what we don't have access to is the accessibility of going to the bathroom anywhere you want. We have a portable toilet, which means that it's portable, so we have to dump it on a weekly basis, and we go number 1 and number 2 inside the bus in that toilet, and yeah, that sucks. It's not like we have just a piping system underneath the ground, underneath the bus. It's one of the bigger cons of living on the road. And trust me, I can go on and on and on about the cons of living on the road, but one thing I will say is that the pros of living on the road are indefinitely better than the cons of living on the road, which is why I think I'm still doing this type of lifestyle. And obviously there's a lot of pros of living out on the road. I mean, as you guys can see right now, we are currently cooking lunch in the middle of a desert in California, and it's also perfect weather. So, and all of this is cool. All of the, going to see different cities and national parks and different towns and meeting new people is all cool. Like, the experience is awesome. But the biggest pro of living out on the road is the freedom. And that's what makes this whole lifestyle worth living. It's the freedom to go wherever I want, whenever I want to go, and who I want to go with. And that right there is the only pro that I need to live this type of lifestyle. And that's exactly why I'm in the middle of a desert right now, living off-grid. So after beginning this journey all the way back from New Jersey and visiting around 20 different states on the way until we hit Los Angeles, it was pretty much nonstop. We were traveling like crazy, pretty much going to a different state or city every single weekend. It was pretty nonstop. And if you're watching this video and you're thinking about traveling or you are traveling, I would not recommend doing that. Don't do that, especially starting out, because it's mentally and physically taxing, and it's not the point of traveling. And if I could take it back, I would definitely take it a lot slower. After traveling for the first 4 months, we finally got a chance to breathe once we hit Los Angeles. And when I mean breathe, I mean essentially just chilling out and hugging the coast of Los Angeles, visiting Venice Beach and Huntington Beach and other smaller cities around Los Angeles. And again, I wouldn't take those 2 months for granted ever, because they were great experiences. But now that I am in the desert, it's just you, nature, and endless sand. And that's exactly why I came here. And to be honest, if you guys are watching this and you're from a big city like New York, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, or any big city that you live in year round, good for you. Because personally, I could not deal with the noise and just the people and the cars and just like everyone going nonstop. I just couldn't do it, and I could barely do it for 2 months, so I don't know how you guys do it for a year. Which, now that I'm thinking about it, makes me realize why I'm even doing this type of lifestyle to begin with, because I can't keep stationary. I've lived at the same house for 20 years in New Jersey, and now that I'm finally out in nature and I've been to over 20 different states, which is the most states I've ever been to in a short amount of time, I don't see myself ever being in a stationary place again. And I know that kind of sounds weird, but it's true. And then there's the question of like, am I gonna have some type of home base in the future? And of course, the answer to that is yes. I don't think living in a vehicle you can do forever. Me personally, it's very physically and mentally taxing on my body. Unless I'm, at a place for a longer period of time, it really does take a toll. But overall, I think it's all about balance. In a perfect world, I think I could have a home base where I can settle down whenever I want to settle down for a couple months on end, and whenever I'm feeling, adventurous or, kind of claustrophobic in the house that I'm living at, I can just take my bus and go wherever I want. I think that's the best of both worlds, and right now I'm working on doing that. With that being said, I think I'm doing pretty good right now. I'm only 23 years old, and I think my life is a little unbalanced because, I haven't necessarily seen my friends and family in about 6 months, but they understand why I'm doing this type of lifestyle, and that's all I can ask for. But, I'm just living out my dreams and enjoying these views, and that's all you can do when it comes to living out on the road. So it's kind of the perfect time of year to be in a desert right now because it's November. So kind of like that early fall / like getting into the winter type of season, and I'm wearing a sweatshirt right now. And I think it gets to, the high 70s during the day, but then at night it gets to like the high 40s, which is like perfect at night. Although I will say the clocks just went back an hour, so it is currently 4:45 and the sun just set, and it gets dark around like 5 o'clock, which sucks, but I guess you gotta do what you gotta do for the farmers. So being that it is currently 40 degrees out and it's like perfect fire weather, something that you don't really get to do often when you're living in the city is to, watch movies on the projector. And, I haven't done this in a while, so I think it's time. All right, I think that is good. I had to time down because it's getting a little windy, so, yeah, but that looks really good. Again, I haven't broke this out in months. It looks pretty good. I forgot how big it was. But one thing that I will say about California is that it is one of the most diverse states in the country. And when I mean diverse, I mean, like I was literally in LA, like 3 hours away from here, right? So I can go to the desert and I can be in the city all the way up to the mountains and one of the most remarkable national parks, which is Yosemite, within 3 to 4 hours. And I don't think you can say that with a lot of other states, so that's pretty unique. All right, but I think that is pretty good. I took a lot longer than kind of expected. It's getting a lot darker now, but the Netflix is up and running and we're all set. Now I think the next step is to get a fire going and call it a night. With that being said, there is something to say about having, those reset months where you don't really move for 2 months. It was genuinely nice to do that, but what happened was I started to get a little bit too comfortable, and that's when I knew something was wrong. And I know the question's gonna come like, well, what are you talking about? Like, what are you getting comfortable from? But the biggest thing I was getting comfortable from is just like not leaving the bus at all, not getting out into nature and going to Starbucks and buying overpriced coffee all the time. Like, it was really just the same routine, doing the same thing over and over again. And when you're comfortable doing this type of lifestyle, it's not good. And coming out here reminded me that being in nature and starting fires and being like on the desert and just being away from the noise is the reason why I did this type of lifestyle to begin with. And sometimes you need a reminder of why you do the things that you do. And being in the desert again, away from everything, has given me that. All right, movie is on, but I guess the question of the hour is, you know, when am I gonna stop living off grid in this desert in California? And the answer right now is, I don't really know. It could be tomorrow, it could be this weekend, it could be next week, it could be the coming months. I'm not really sure. But one thing is for certain, and two things are for sure, and that is I will leave when I want to leave, plain and simple. Because I have no constraints, mandates, or anything holding me back from doing what I want to do. And that's the best part about living this type of lifestyle. So if you guys are ever lost, comfortable, or just stuck in a rut in your life, then sometimes you got to get lost to find the thing that you're looking for. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.